Hi guys, in this video we're going to talk about arithmetic sequences. What is a sequence? A sequence is a list of numbers in a particular order, and we give the notation of an for a sequence. Each number in a sequence is called a term. The first term is symbolized by a1, that's the first term, and the second term is symbolized by a2, and so on. Let's take a look at this example. We have a sequence in a list 1, 5, 9, 13, and 17. So this is one way of writing sequences, which is writing sequences in a list. So the first question is to identify a sub 1, and a sub 1 means the first term of the sequence, and the first term of the sequence in this case is 1. The second question is asking for a sub 3, or the third term, and the third term, if you look at the sequence, is 9. Now, a sub 1 plus a sub 3, that means the first term plus the third term. The first term is 1, the third term is 9, 1 plus 9 equals to 10, and that's the final answer. Now, a sub 4 minus a sub 2 divided by 5. That means the fourth term minus the second term divided by 5. The fourth term in this sequence is 13 minus the second term is 5, and we need to divide that number by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, 13 minus 1 is 12, and that's the final answer. So in this new unit, we're going to learn two types of sequences. The first type is called the arithmetic sequence, and the second type is the geometric sequence. And in this video, we are focusing on the arithmetic sequence. So what's an arithmetic sequence? An arithmetic sequence is a sequence of terms such that the difference of any two consecutive numbers is a constant. And this constant is called the common difference, and it's notated by the letter D. If we have a sequence in this, as in this example, we have 2, 0, -2, -4, -6, -8, and this sequence is written in a list. So to identify what kind of sequence it is, we need to find out what kind of pattern takes place in the sequence. And as you can see, we have the first term, 2, and by subtracting 2 from the first term, we're going to get to the second term, which is 0. And by subtracting 2 from the term, you get to the next term. So in this case, as you can see, it looks like the common difference between these two numbers is -2. So in this example, the first term is 2, and the common difference is a -2. That's why this sequence is an arithmetic sequence. So let's talk about the rules for arithmetic sequences. So the first rule that we're going to talk about for arithmetic sequences is called the explicit rule. And it's also called the general rule, and the nth term rule. So explicit rule, general rule, the nth term rule all means the same thing. And this rule is a sub n equals a1 plus n minus plus n minus 1 times d. So if you look in here, you'll find out that a of n, that's the term that we want, is equal to the first term plus n is the number of, or the number of the term that you need to identify, minus 1 times the common difference. The other rule that belong to the arithmetic sequence is called the recursive rule. And the recursive rule is a sub n equals a sub n minus 1 plus d. Now, if you look at this rule, you'll find out that the nth term, which is the one that you need to identify, is equal to the previous term plus the common difference. So let's put these rules into practice. In the following example, we have to list the first 5 terms of the following sequence. And if you look at this sequence, you'll see that we have the rule, we don't have a list, and we need to come up with a list. A sub n equals 3 plus n minus 1 times 2. This is the general rule for the arithmetic sequence, and we know from the formula that A, or the first term, A1, is 3, and the common difference is 2. So to get the answer or to list the terms of the sequence, I'm going to start with 3, and then I'm going to add the common difference to the first term to get to the next term or the second term, which is in this example is going to be 5 because 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 2 is 7, 7 plus 2 is 9, and 9 plus 2 is 11. Now, the question is asking me for the 20th term. I can keep listing my numbers to get to the 20th term, but it's going to be a lot of work. There is an easier way of finding the 20th term by substituting n in the formula with 20 and switching every single n after that with 20. So I'm going to use the same rule. I'm going to put a sub 20, which is equal to 3 plus 20 minus 1 times 2. So that means that the 20th term is the answer for these numbers. I know that 20 minus 1 is 19. 19 times 2 is 38 plus 3. That means 41. So the 20th term is 41, which is getting the answer this way, it's much easier than keep listing the numbers until you get to the 20th term. Let's take a look at this example where we have to list the first 5 terms of the sequence, and the sequence is a sub n equals a sub n minus 1 plus 6, and the first term is negative 2. So this is the recursive rule because a sub n depends on a sub n minus 1, which is the previous term. So in this case, I know that the first term is negative 2, and I know that the common difference is 6. That means that the first term of the list or of the sequence is negative 2, and I have to add 6 to the first term to get to the second term, which is in this case 4. And then add 6 to 4, which is 10, and add 6 to 10, which is 16, and add 6 to 16, which is 22. Now, the question is also asking me for the 20th term. That means I need to keep adding 6 until I can get to the 20th term, which is one way. But I can also I can use a shortcut to get the answer. I know that the equation of the nth term in the explicit rule can help me get the answer quickly. I know that the explicit rule is a sub n equals the first term, which is in this case negative 2, plus n minus 1 times the common difference, which is in this case 6. So all I need to do to find the 20th term is to substitute n with 20. And the answer at the end is going to be negative 2 plus 20 minus 1 times 6, which is going to give me an answer of 113. And this is how you get to the nth term if the number is very high when you have the recursive rule. Let's look at this example. It says, write the arithmetic or the nth term rule for the sequence explicitly and recursively. And we have a sequence 1, 5, 9, 13, 17 written in a list. So the first thing that I need to do to be able to write the rule is, or these rules, is to identify the first term. And the first term in this example is 1. We need to also identify the common difference, since I know this is an arithmetic sequence. And to find the common difference, that means you have to subtract consecutive terms from each other. So in this case, I'm going to subtract 5 minus 1, and I get 4, which means that I have to add 4 every single time to go from one term to the next term in this sequence. So to find the common difference, all you need to do is to subtract the second term from the first term. So in this case, the common difference is 4. Now, to write the explicit rule, I know that a sub n equals the first term, which is 1, plus n minus 1 times the common difference. So that's the explicit form of the sequence, but I can simplify it if I distribute. So I have a sub n equals 1 plus 4n minus 4. Then I have like terms that I can combine together. I'm going to end up with 4n minus 3. Now that's the explicit form. Now the recursive form or rule is a sub n equals a sub n minus 1 plus d, which is in this case 4, and I have to mention what the first term is. That's important. And in this case, a sub 1 is 1. So that's all you need to do for the recursive rule. And if you look at it, it means the term is equal to the previous term plus 4, which makes sense, and the first term is 1.